Hey guys, I wanted to bring up a little thing that everybody has their set ways of trading stocks and keeping in mind buy low, sell high. You have a situation here in front of me. It is 2:26 p.m. Central Time, so close of trading day will be 3 o'clock. So we're getting close. We're getting close to the time everything stops. So what happens in the morning with a stock? People put in orders and stuff so that when the market opens, it'll buy the stock at a certain price, and they generally go off of whatever it closed off of, which there's nothing wrong with that. It makes sense. What you might want to start looking at, and to get into bigger profits, bigger gains. Let's just go bigger percentage gains. You know, your profit can be a penny or $100. Either way, you're making a profit. So here's a stock in front of me, UiPath. And what I'm looking at is the minute by minute sales on this thing. And we're over half an hour from close. And what I've seen throughout the day on this stock is it is in general decline. Okay? So if you go to the 1 year chart on this thing, it's going down. Uh, there's the 5 year. It's going down, but it's established a bottom. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with this stock. It sells robotic equipment for assembly lines and that kind of stuff, mainly in the United States and Europe. And it's got a ton of competitors out there, and it's a small fish. But at 13.98 a share, it's an affordable fish. So this is a stock that you can day trade a little bit if you use your brain. If you get stuck with it, it pays the dividends. You'll get your money back eventually. And when the AI stuff really comes to fruition and it integrates itself with companies like this robotic arm assembly line kind of company, it will the synergies there, use a fancy word, uh, will really help out a company like this because instead of doing hours or days or weeks of programming to get a robotic arm to do spot welds on something or grab onto something and flip it over and turn it 90 degrees or whatever, you know the dream is that you just have the technician to just simply tell it what to do. You know, um, he can say it in a sentence. He can put in XYZ coordinates in a sentence, comma, you know, spot weld, 39.72, blah, blah, whatever, XYZ axis, fill in the blank numbers, comma, and then go to the next one, comma, go to the next one, comma, flip over 180 degrees, and then continue. You could give it all these commands in just a sentence. You won't have to program and type all this shit out for hours and days. So that and so that and you can easily go back and edit it, very quickly also. So that's the dream with this stuff. Uh, and we're getting there. You're getting there faster than you might think. These engineers aren't screwing around anymore when it comes to this stuff. So this is a company that will benefit from that kind of technology once it's integrated in with their particular niche. In the meantime, their overall stock price is going down. Their earnings per share and everything is gone down and everything, but they're beating market expectations. So that's one of the things that's keeping them alive. But let's look at it as that's a long-term hold look, which is fine. This isn't the kind of stock I would long-term hold, though. I would do a medium or short-term or a day trade. So let's look at a day trade. Let's go to 1 day. And let's zoom in over here and see what's going on. So right now it's at $14. And it's bouncing around and everything. And I've got a sell order at 14.05 right over here. And you know, it's just a few pennies away, but it's bouncing and declining. And what I wanted to get into was look at a stock that you know you want to day trade, or you think there's some really good potential to make a few dollars, not thousands, a few dollars, get in, get out. Well, if you bought this stuff in the morning and waited for it to go up, it might go up and hit your sell price, or it might not. You have to look at the average that the market has decided. And I'm talking a short-term average, like half a day, 2 days, 3 days, a short-term average for that stock price. Whether it's going up or down, what's the average? So in a daily sense, you have to keep an open mind as to what will happen in the morning with this thing. Unless some horrible news event happens, like the CEO was killed, or the board fired the CEO, or tariffs hit, and they have or they're getting sued or something, or some big news event, totally unexpected. If it's just normal average business day for this company, this stock price is going to keep bouncing within a few pennies most of the day. So, how do you make money off of that? This stock's at $13.99. Earlier, it was up at $14.15. Okay, just couple 3 hours ago. So it's done a lot of bouncing in between there. Now, of course, there's no guarantee it'll go up that high tomorrow, but I can guarantee you it'll go up at least 3 cents, and it'll go down at least 3 cents tomorrow. It'll bounce a little bit. So how do you buy low and sell high? Well, right now, before the close of market, you got people that bought earlier for whatever price, and they want to sell. But they're debating right now. Should I sell it for this point, this price point, or this price point? If I sell it here, I'll break even. If I sell it here, I'll make a little money. If I sell it here, I'll only lose $7 or whatever they're thinking. So these are real conversations people are having with themselves when they set these things. Again, I'm talking day traders, not the big boys. So you can see that here in the last 10-15 minutes or so, there's been some sell-offs and there's some buying. So it hit a certain point and people are like, "Oh, that's cheap enough. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. I think it'll do all right." And so they bought some, and it brought it back up. And then they're like, I better sell. It's hanging. It's established a new average of 14.04 up here. I better sell. So they sold, and they took some profit. And look at this. It hit down here at $13.97. Somebody picked some up. And so now it's back up to $1,400. So you can see there is a buying opportunity right there, and somebody did it. Somebody was smart enough to put a limit order or something in there for buying at $13.97, just in case it would happen. And it did. So this is something to keep in mind. If you want to pick up a stock cheaper, of course it's gamble. This is a way of killing two birds at one stone. You can possibly buy, depending on what your limit order is, your limit buy order. You can buy some stock fairly cheap, and I suspect these people either bought it a long time ago or they were like, "No, I got to cut my losses and get out of this thing. I need the cash for tomorrow." So they sold it $13.97. So this guy got a bargain. So he can sell up here at $13.99 or $1,400 and make the money. Not only did he potentially make some money today. If he holds it tomorrow, based on the set average, this daily set average of 1404, he can gamble and say, you know what, I'm going to buy it down here at 1400, put the sell order at 1403, and you're 95% odds that you'll get your strike price and you'll sell and make that money. You'll make that profit. Small profit, but you'll make that profit. Because that average right here has already been set. And it's bounced around that thing all day, and you're just a few pennies away from it. Now, still gamble. It could go on down and never see that for 3 months. I mean, it's very possible. But that's just this particular stock. You can use this technique on any stock. It doesn't have to be UiPath. I'm just using it as an obvious example because you can see this big drop off when they're selling. It's 2:37 p.m. They're selling and they're getting nervous. They're like, oh man, if it would just go back up to 1406, I would make this much money, but it's not. So, screw it. I'll just make $10 or $100 or whatever and sell it at 1401 or 1402. And that's what they're doing. You can just see this happening right here. Well, in order to sell, you got to have a buyer. And so you have people buying low, and they'll sell high tomorrow morning. So if you come back and look at this thing, today's the date, December 16th on Monday. So if you go Tuesday and look at the opening on this stock, no matter what it closes at the end of the day, we don't care. It's what it opened at. Look at the opening price on this thing when all these people have these sell orders in. Well, here's the deal. You could have already sold it. Let's say they were going to sell it at 1404 tomorrow. You could have already sold it today. Waited for that big drop off. And this is a minute by minute stock ticker, by the way. And when you see that thing, put in your limit orders to buy, and it just might hit. And if it does, great. Then to immediately have a sell order for a few pennies more and make that money. You have to be ready for this, be prepared, be ready to execute. But that's what they're doing. That's one way of investing a lot of people don't really utilize. A lot of people buy it for a price, and then if it hits that price during the day sometime, yay, I made my money, and they go on. And to be honest, that's the kind of trader I generally am now as a hobbyist trader. So, but if you have the energy and you have the ability to monitor this stuff and you want to keep track of it and get into the thrill and the excitement of the buy low, sell high, this is one way you should look at buying a stock. It's towards the end of the day, but not quite the close of business. Check out. You'll see these kind of little drops like this all the time on just about every stock. And the more that stock is traded, the more you'll see it. But a high volume stock like a Walmart or Microsoft or something, it's harder to keep track of. You can, but in the time it takes you to type in an order or click an order or something, it's already traded 1 million shares or something. So it's difficult to follow on something like that. But there's other companies out there you can use this technique. And here's what I'll look at right here. Here's the day. This is for the day for the stock. And you can see these drops. So let's count them up. In fact, it's headed back up right now, 1402. I guarantee you there'll be another drop. But let's count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just count this as 5 and a 6, 7. There's a big one right there, 8. Then he had these little ones, but 9, 10, 11, 12, and a big 13 or 14 right in here. Plus at the opening, here's that opening. They headed up here at 1394. It dropped to 1383, and people buy. And you can see what happened. It skyrocketed. And then people sold, dropped off, and people are like, you know what? Let's keep going. So there's your buy low, sell high. It's right in front of your face on every stock chart you look at. You know, if you get into the flow, if you get into this mindset and flow of this stuff, and quit worrying about what it opened at and what it closed at, and that's the only thing you look at when it comes to a stock price and your daily trading and stuff, get back into this kind of stuff. Look at these small gains and these small losses as far as stock price goes. And you can, you could have made 20 trades today for $1,000 or less, and at the end of the day, you could have cleared $100 or $200 or $300. You know, it is work to do it that way. It's gambling, like I do when I just buy it at a certain price, and I know to sell it when it hits a higher price and hope it gets there. And I don't care if it takes a day or a week or a month. Once it gets there, then I've made my money, because I'm looking at different investment factors than a day trader would. But as far as day traders go, this is what you have to do. You have to put in that work. And like anything, the more you do of it, the more you'll recognize this stuff. And quit worrying about what this peak is and worry about this valley down here. What is this range? What is the range between the average that it started out making for that day, the high average, the median, and then the low average down here? This is what you need to keep an eye on. This up here, the high price to the median, that doesn't matter so much. It's this one right here, the median to the bottom. Notice that it's a smaller amount. That's your play right there. That's what you need to keep an eye on when it comes to the stock. And you can zoom in on this stuff. Where did we go? A day? You can zoom in on this stuff so you can watch it minute by minute. And it brings it into perspective a little better as to the movements to these things. So we're looking at 244. So I'm going to end this video, but I want you to think about this. You could be trading this rise and this fall. This rise, this fall. You could be trading this instead of worrying about the whole damn day. All right, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something.